What's up, man? What's up, guys? Uh, this is Frank House of Orange coming at you. Tennessee takes care of business tonight, 83-72 against Texas. They move on to a game I really wanted a rematch. There's two rematches I wanted. Auburn, Kentucky, both are still possible along the way. But first, we get Auburn along the way. Now, maybe it's be careful what you wish for, but I'm going glass half full versus glass half empty on this one again. I want Auburn. I think if you're Tennessee, you look back to that Auburn game and you've got to say that, we have reason to be upset that we didn't win that game. And yes, it boiled down to, I'm not even talking about the officiating. It came down to that Auburn game that Auburn hit a shot, we didn't at the end. That's what it boiled down to. But this game today, 83-72, and I'm going to look at a couple things here on it, really, because it was really two different guys that carried this team throughout two different halves today. When Chaz Lanier, when Chaz scores 18 or more, Tennessee's undefeated in SEC play. He hit, they changed it because they had initially called, he had hit a 3, they called it a 2, and they had changed it. So that gave him, it still gave him 19 in the first half. And then you look at the second half, Chaz had 4, but then it was Zakai Ziegler went for 19 in the second half. So it's really kind of been the story more lately than I think we realized that it's been two different halves on it. It's I'm excited. We play Auburn tomorrow, 1:00. I can't wait for it. I had never realized this action. It makes sense now. Dan Schulman made mention that Auburn played first as they got more rest than a couple more hours rest, and said it was designed like that. It makes sense because last year Tennessee went in as the 1 seed. They played the early game in the SEC tournament. Of course, they got blown out last year by Mississippi State, but I don't think I had ever heard that before, but it makes sense. Now you reward your top team with the early game, and it gives them the most rest along the way. So that makes a lot of sense. And, I think a lot of, with Tennessee, Texas playing pretty good basketball. I think this is one today, though, that Texas had beaten. Vanderbilt had that hard-fought win over Texas A&M. And Tennessee would get up a little bit. They never could really quite just put them away, but I felt it was pretty comfortable, though. And, was it fresher legs or what? But Tennessee from the get-go looked to me like they were really in control of this game. Make sure you hit that like, that share this out. Anybody that you know that may want to tune in on here as well. If you've tuned in, you haven't before, hit that subscribe. We did finally hit 3,000. So I did the funny thing. I did the video about hitting 3,000, and then somebody unsubscribed, and it went to $29.99. But a couple have come back. Then thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for the support as well. Like, share, subscribe. Those super chats are available. They do go to help the channel. Very grateful for those along the way as well. Any financial support is obviously greatly appreciated. But Papa J member channel says, what is going on? Seen a few of these comments. Sandra says the refs were terrible. Kyle Beach says, how about them Vols? I know we got away some fouls, but good grief, Johnson had the hook all game against Z. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute. Ronnie Freeman, what's up, man? Great win. Go Vols. Yes. Beat Auburn. Let's see, Papa J double posted there. Ronnie Freeman said refs were bad today. Kyle Beach, I noticed the last few games have been like, it really has. It's been like Chaz one half, Ziegler the other. And because Ziegler's had a couple games where he's been basically non-existent in the first half. Then all of a sudden in the second half, he goes off. And Chaz has kind of picked up the slack in the first half. And then when teams start to key on him, that's when Ziegler comes in. I don't know if it's by design. I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but it's worked out pretty well, to be honest with you. And I don't think there's been a time all year where we've seen Chaz have two big halves. He's normally even, Arkansas was probably the closest, but I mean, that's not to say anything bad about him. It's just that he normally has that one big half, and then teams will kind of key on him. Or he may start slow, and then the second half he turns it on. It's really normally a tale of two halves for him as far as like his production, his shots. I mean, you look at it tonight. First half, he was 9 out of 15. Second half, that was the game. I'm sorry, 8 out of 11 first half, just 1 out of 4 the second half. But funny thing is, the highest plus minus in the second half was when Chaz was on the court. So did his first half bring him more attention, which freed up Ziegler? Milicic had 6 in the second half. Meshack had 5. Gainey had 5. Cade Phillips had 3. And Cade Phillips had 4 off. He had 5 rebounds in the second half. He played some really good minutes. He played 13 minutes. Still waiting to hear. I've not seen anything yet on Okpara. I do want to see that as well, if it was anything worth being concerned about, or if it was more precautionary when they pulled him out and let Cade Phillips go. Something I did not mention, too, Zakai Ziegler today set the all-time single-season assist record with 227. So he passed that up. Next for him, and I'm not sure how close he is right now, because honestly I've not kept up with it that closely, but he is close to breaking the all-time record along the way. And I've had a lot of people saying, should his number go in the rafters? Is he the greatest point guard ever in Tennessee history? No, I don't know. The rafters thing, I'll be honest, I don't know that if Tennessee were to win a national championship, put his number in the rafters next year on it. If they don't, I don't know that you can put his number in the rafters before you put Grant Williams in the rafters. Grant Williams was back-to-back SEC Player of the Year. He was an All-American. So I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I mean, there's only 5 jerseys in the rafters right now. So I think that's a term that kind of gets loosely thrown around sometimes. But this is one that it definitely warrants a discussion. There's no doubt about that. What's up, Oliver? He says, let's get revenge tomorrow. Man, I want it. I cannot tell you. I'm telling you right now, I would go run through a brick wall. I'll be that fired up tomorrow. Because after that first meeting, I was fired up. And me and Auburn fans, we went the rounds. So, yeah, you can bet you I want some revenge on Auburn tomorrow. And I saw their huddle at the end of their game. They're saying they got 2 more. And I was immediately going to that screen saying, you've got 1 more tomorrow. And you guys know my feelings on Bruce Pearl. I tried to make a little bit of peace with Bruce Pearl, and then they lost to Alabama last weekend. Star, Bruce Pearl. You can fill in the 4 stars along the way on it. I can't stand the guy, and I definitely even more so cannot stand his spoiled ass punk boy along the way. That's I'm trying to put it as mildly as I can. I don't like him. I appreciate Bruce Pearl. I appreciate that he did resurrect Tennessee basketball, but the way it ended and what he did, and he had a chance to resurrect it, or not. I'm sorry, he resurrected the pro. He had a chance to right his wrong, and he went and added another wrong. And it basically, people can say, well, it avoided. We basically got put on probation because we got the Conzo Martin era and we got the Donnie Tyndall year, which I don't think Donnie Tyndall was too bad of a coach. Donnie Tyndall was a slime ball, evidenced by he lasted the year, and it all worked out perfectly for Rick Barnes to come to Knoxville and the rest is history at this point. That's why I really want. I've had some say, oh, the number one seed's not a big deal and such. To me, listen, man, going back to Don DeVoe, that's my first recollection of Tennessee basketball. Now, remember I'm playing West Virginia in the NCAA tournament. West Virginia blew them out. DeVoe era had some good stuff along the way. Then you went to the Wade Houston era. Rough era. I remember, I can't remember how many wins it was. Tennessee was like maybe last in the conference, went into the SEC tournament in Nashville, not at Bridgestone Arena, at Vanderbilt's gym, and made it all the way to the SEC championship and almost got in with a losing record. But Alabama, I think it was Alabama team that had Sprewell and Ori, blew them out that day. Better team that finally come to an end. Then you had the Kevin O'Neal era. Kevin O'Neal could recruit. If you thought Conzo Martin's era or Rick Barnes' offense was boring to watch, go back and see some Kevin O'Neal tape. My goodness, those offenses were horrific. But he recruited well, which then led us to the Jerry Green era. Had potential. But every year it ended in interesting style. Even the year he went to one Sweet 16? Lost to North Carolina. North Carolina was an 8 seed that year. I think Tennessee was a 4. It was set up perfectly. They were having their way. It's when North Carolina had Joseph 14. He fouled out of the game. And then Julius Peppers, you probably know of NFL fame, come in and took over the game. And Tennessee got sent to the house. It happened numerous times. And then it ended with Tennessee, was it Charlotte, 8-9? They lost. Jerry Green got fired. Buzzball era. Buzzball had talent. Buzzball couldn't. Buzz Peterson could identify talent. He just couldn't get them there. Fortunately, then we had the Bruce Pearl era. So that's why I'm thankful. I just outlined it. Why do I want to win? That's why. Because I've been there for years. The program's never had it. It is a big deal to me to get it. May not seem like much. It's a number. I've seen some say too, well, being a 1 avoids the other ones. I'll take being in Duke's bracket. I don't care even if Flag does play. I'll take being in Duke's bracket. But I would rather avoid Duke. I'd rather get Michigan State or St. John's, Texas Tech, or somebody as that 2 seed. I'd rather go into 1. I don't care if we have to go to Australia to play as that 1 seed. I'll take it. It's just the way I feel. Nobody's going to change my mind on that. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. Based on over 40 years watching Tennessee basketball, I think it's a big deal for this program to finally maybe get a number 1 seed. For that to happen, you got to beat Auburn tomorrow. And then if Alabama or Florida makes it out of their part, you've got to beat one of them. I've said it the whole time. I heard him say it today on, I can't remember if it was during the telecast or it was during one of the in-between games. I think it's last man standing out of this group. If Tennessee gets put out tomorrow, they're no worse than a 2 seed, which is great. It's still great to do that. But I want that 1. I'm kind of where I was last year with baseball, and you guys know how I feel about these conference tournaments, but I'm all in at this point. Let's win this one, then let's go win the whole freaking thing. That's where I went with baseball last year. Tennessee lost to Vanderbilt in the first game of the SEC tournament. I was like, I really don't care. And then the Mississippi State game happened midway through. Tensions got high. I didn't want to lose them. I got fired up with it. I didn't want to lose a rematch to Vanderbilt, and then you make it to the SEC championship. You're there. You might as well win it. So I'm already here. I've been here all week. I want to win this tournament, get the 1 seed, and then I want to go win the whole thing on that. Yeah, this is a hot topic here. I got text, the jump ball at the end. My goodness. That was probably about the worst jump ball that I have ever seen in my life. The announcers knew it. Rick Barnes knew it. And that was horrible. It was. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. He hits. Yeah, I think Ethan, I think, and you may have responded. I'm going down to comments here. Got a little bit behind on. For me, if Tennessee wins the SEC tournament, if this tournament still matters, they're the number 1 seed if they win it. Same with Florida, same with Alabama. I really think, let's say 3 scenarios here. Auburn beats Tennessee tomorrow. Florida beats Alabama. Florida's the 4th number 1. Auburn beats Tennessee. Alabama beats Florida. Alabama is the 4th number 1. Tennessee beats, actually, there's probably about 4 or 5 scenarios. But if Tennessee beats Auburn, Florida, and then whoever, Florida, Bama, you guys get where I'm going with this. Anyway, if Tennessee wins the whole thing, if this tournament truly matters, they're the number 1 seed. We're going to find out. We're going to find out how much this tournament truly matters. Because I'll be honest with you, if Tennessee were to win this tournament, tall task ahead, no doubt about it. But they were to beat Auburn tomorrow and to beat whoever they face Sunday, and then they're still 2 seed. Next year, I'd bench the whole team and play walk-ons the whole game and say piss on it. 2 or 3 years ago, when they won it in Tampa, it was thought that would elevate them to a 2 seed. It didn't. The seeding did not matter. That tournament did not matter at that point. Will it be any different this year? It should be if these things matter, but we'll see, man. What's up, Rhonda? Happy 3,000, Frank. Definitely better. Man, this is a good question here. So if Alabama and Florida lose, we get that 4th 1 seed. Ooh, I don't know on that. That's a part of me has to say yes. But I don't know how this committee would go because obviously Florida plays Missouri, Alabama plays Kentucky tonight. Both teams could lose. That's a good question. I've wondered about that too. To me, if the tournament means something, Tennessee made it the furthest. They should get the 1. I don't know that the committee will necessarily agree with me on that, but let's see here. I think if it comes down to Tennessee and Alabama, Tennessee should get the 1 due to tiebreaker. It's not going to happen, though, because they're looking at what happened recently. And let's see. Yeah, I agree with this. This is kind of how I think it on it, too. According to Lenardi, whichever one makes it further should get to 1. So, in that regard, yeah, if Alabama and Florida lose tonight, to me, that should make Tennessee the 1 seed. I totally agree. But I don't know about that. I want Big Ten. I want Big Ten because Tom Izzo's team beat us in the Elite 8 back under Pearl. Purdue beat us last year. You're going to have to go through these guys. And if you're going to national championship, you got to be willing to play whomever. So I get it. Bring them all. Bring them all on because you're not going to get that year. I mean, you never know, but we saw 2 years ago, the bracket was laid out perfectly with us getting Florida Atlantic, and we saw what happened. They laid a major egg in Madison Square Garden. So, I don't know. We'll see on that. I'll say some Michigan. I don't think Michigan. I think the final 1 seed is going to be the Florida, Alabama, or Tennessee. If anything, I would have thought maybe St. John's, but I mean, Michigan State could sneak up there. I don't see it. I think Michigan State's a 2. And I'll take them. Bring them on. Bring them on. I hope we get Michigan State and Purdue along the way because I've been a strong advocate for this. Sometimes there are those teams you've got to get by to do it. Purdue is one of them. I hope we get paired with Purdue. Now, I say that if Purdue were to put Tennessee out again, that'd be rough. But, we'll see. Yeah, SEC officiating, they're pretty rough. There's no doubt about it. Tennessee Auburn tomorrow will be interesting. Auburn fans were going on about it being a football game the first time. I mean, I could go on about old CBM and his flopping, and I know he went out for a portion of time, and they were like, "How is that not a foul?" That to this day is still not a foul. He stuffed himself on the rim trying to dunk it. I don't think a Tennessee guy even touched him, and then he hit the floor on it. It is what it is. Auburn fans were pretty tough to talk with. They're not on my Christmas card list, to say the least. Baseball game is on SEC Network Plus tonight. Yep, for sure. So if you got a subscription, you can log in through the app. If you got any kind of TV subscription or whatever, you can log in through the app and get it. But this SEC Network Plus stuff is a crock. I'll be honest. I can get it. I mean, there's no problem with that, but still yet, it's I don't like it. Used to it was ESPN Plus. So now here we are. And now they've switched it to SEC Network Plus. So, it is what it is. But see if I can get. I think the game's probably close to starting now. Yeah, about a couple minutes away. Tennessee, Florida tonight. Probably won't go too long on here. I'm about getting to that point where there's not a whole lot more to talk about. But let's go through the stats again. Chaz Lanier on the day. Let's definitely compare something. Lanier 23, Ziegler 19 on the second half, Milicic 12, Meshack 13, Akpara 4. Still waiting to see if there's anything on him. I'm trying to find that. Look on BallQuest for that. I would imagine with Akpara, I think it was, they said he was complaining, got hit in the head. So that was probably more precautionary. And Cade Phillips was doing a good job in the second half. There was no reason to rush him back out on that. Dubar got 5 minutes, 0 points. Dubar, man, he had a good, he had a good block while he was in. It was a good defensive possession. The ball got loose and Texas hit a 3. It was really bad luck because Tennessee played really good defense on that possession. And Gainey had 9. Phillips had 3 and 6 boards on the day. Meshack 7 boards. Milicic 7 boards on the day. So team stats. Tennessee, the first half, Texas was shooting 56% field goals, 50% from threes. Second half, different story on it. In the second half, they shot 37% 3-point, 37% field goal, 0% 3-point. First half, they were 4 out of 8. Second half, they were 0 out of 8. First half, they were, let me go back to, I know they were 56%, 15 out of 27 as well. So Texas shot a whole lot better in the first half. Tennessee really stepped up their defense in the second half in that regard. But looking at it here as well. So Tennessee shot 50% for the game. Both teams were 25% from 3-point range. Texas was 86% from the free throw line. Tennessee 69%. This is a couple games in a row where they've been pretty rough. I mean, you look at it today. Chaz was 3 out of 6. Ziegler 6 out of 11. 50%, just above 50%. Milicic 3 out of 4. Meshack 7 out of 8. Pretty good there. Gainey 4 out of 4. Phillips 1 out of 2 on the day. That's they're going to have to improve that as they get further along the way. Tennessee forced 11 turnovers, only had 8. 13 points off turnovers for Tennessee, 11 for Texas. A big one, and I've seen this talked about coming up to it. Tennessee had lost the rebounding battle 3 games in a row. Today, they won it 32-27. Second chance points, 18-12 Tennessee. Texas did outscore them off the bench. Not a big surprise. I mean, a lot of Tennessee's bench scoring is Jordan Gainey Points in the paint, 36-34 for Tennessee. Fast break, 6-3 Tennessee. Blocks, 6-3 Tennessee. 8-4 on steals, 12-10 on assists, all in favor of Tennessee on it. So Tennessee won pretty much every category except for free throws today. It was a little more, really, if you looked at the first half box score, you would have thought, what's going, how are we leading this game? Because I looked at it and I'm just like, kind of wondering how, but at the same time, a big reason was Chaz Lanier, obviously, on it. But then second half, Tennessee was in control. They were in control. That one, Texas kept it within reach, but still, Tennessee was in control when they took care of business today. Let me hit a few more comments here. Yes, totally agree with this one, Victor. And I hit that. I actually felt seeing your comment, but you're absolutely right. This is a couple games in a row where it's pretty rough. I don't see any way that last one seed's not Florida, Alabama, or Tennessee. I really don't. SEC Network Plus. I think somebody said here. Yeah, Peanut said the Peanut BTR, Peanut Butter Posse. There we go. Yeah, I think YouTube cracks down on. I don't know about with baseball, to be honest with you, but honestly, I don't ever watch through YouTube, but there is that option as well. Robert Hensley, nothing. They're getting ready to throw the first pitch right now. Actually, they're on the second pitch. Doyle 1-1 right now. And thank goodness we're seeing miles per hour tonight. Maybe that's a product of playing a good team. But I've wondered a lot of games this year, how hard are these dudes throwing? And I was getting live reaction from somebody I know pretty well when they were in Houston, but that's really been about it. So nothing happened with baseball, just getting started on that. I think we're caught up on the comments here. But Tennessee, Auburn tomorrow, this is a get-back game for Tennessee. Tennessee is 1-1, 2-1 in get-back games this year because they beat Florida in the rematch, beat Vanderbilt in rematch, but they did lose to Kentucky up at Rupp Arena. So Kentucky swept them on the season. They did split with Vanderbilt and Florida. So Tennessee gets another shot at a get-back game tomorrow. Man, I want this one. I really want this one for numerous reasons. Number one, I hate Auburn. Always have. I've said this before, when I was growing up, before Arkansas and South Carolina entered the SEC, your big two rivals were Alabama and Auburn, at least for football. It was basketball's always been Kentucky, Vanderbilt. It's kind of funny how it switches per sport. But I know Tennessee's not the only school like that either. But I've always had a fond hatred of Auburn. And it's intensified once Bruce Pearl's got there because I'm not one of these Pearl lovers. I'm just not. I appreciate him resurrecting the program. I don't appreciate him basically putting it on probation, which is what the Conzo Martin era and the Donnie Tyndall year was. That was 4 years of probation because you got the one Sweet 16 with Conzo Martin, but the whole was it fool's gold? I mean, it took a petition for that team to actually start playing ball that year. And then, when Martin left for Cal, everybody left. It left basically Tyndall with nothing. Tyndall brought in ended up being some good players into that program. But still, it is what it is. Fortunately, we landed on Rick Barnes along the way. So, I want to beat Bruce Pearl. I want to beat Stephen Pearl. And I sure as hell want to beat old CBM because I don't have the Auburn team. And I talked, friend of mine I grew up with, he and his wife went to Auburn when they played. They said they had a great trip, but they talked about being there in person, about how much that Auburn whined and cried and flopped the whole game. And I saw it watching the game, and Auburn fans didn't know what I was talking about. They said Tennessee was just bullying them over. Well, Tennessee bullies them over again tomorrow. And when we do the post game tomorrow, we're talking about Tennessee moving on for that number 1 seed on Sunday. I'm going to wrap up on this one. Liam Doyle has got 2 outs right now. He's up 0-1 on the 3rd place hitter here for Florida as well. So baseball, I'm not doing a live stream tonight. I'll probably do a live stream Sunday on the game. And but definitely going to start trying to work back in some baseball live streams. Definitely going to be basketball the rest of the way, though. So Tennessee is through the first. No hits, no runs, top of the order coming to the plate. You guys have a great rest of your evening. Once again, thank you for 3,000. Thank you so much along the way. But still keep hitting that like, sharing that content out. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button. It's greatly appreciated, as now it's the road to 4,000. And we'll keep trying to grow along the way. Have a great rest of your evening. Frank, House of Orange. Last but not least, go Vols.